Trader Chat is back, and that, of course, means that Flynn Goward is back. Flynn, you had a bit of time off, whatever that is.
I did indeed. I had my first bit of time off for over about 6-7 months, and I had a week off after Cheltenham, so just time to recharge the batteries. But what a week to come back. We've got the Masters, we've got Aintree, nothing short to talk about. So we've got loads of offers and competitions to get stuck into as well. But what a week of sport we have in store this week, Johnny.
Absolutely. Champions League, just in the middle of it all, and just reading the Betting Oddities blog there this morning, Dave Stewart talks about the times they are changing, which of course is reference to Bob Dylan, because Freewheeling Dylan obviously would have attracted some support from people who actually like Bob Dylan, and people who are attracted to 150 to 1 folks, yet another massive price winner. I was just making the point to you before we came on airplane that these results are good for racing. I think after the Gordon Elliott debacle, which was about a month ago now, we've had a fantastic Cheltenham in terms of the image of the sport. We also had a kind of a big news story in Ireland about the Shark Hanlon mare who cost so little winning the Grade 1 and all her owners over in Dubai and all that, or Abu Dhabi rather. And now we have 150 to 1 winner of the Irish National, which I think a lot of people would have been talking about as well. How was it for Star Sports, more to the point?
I mean, it's pretty obvious in terms of the Irish National about how that went for us. But when you're talking about that price being attractive to punters and attractive to the sport, it's attractive to bookmakers. It was very attractive for us seeing that 150 to 1 shot go in. The Irish National was probably the only saving light of last week for us. It was a terrible week across the board. In general,
how so?
The favourite index on the racing was running really high. At one stage, it was running about 70%. So it was really, really high. So those punters that play race to race were having a fantastic week last week. And then also we lost on football. So it was a really, really tough week. But the Irish National is the one that we'll talk about, not just because that's the place where we actually won, but in terms of a great talking point, and it's the Irish National. We laid Espinito Bello for chunks. That was the one that was really, really well supported. We laid at 14 to 1. I think it went off a slightly bit short of that, about the 12 to 1 mark. Augusta Gold, obviously just before we get to Augusta and the Masters, that one proved pretty popular. And Ascaria 10 was the other one, obviously ran in the National Hunt Chase, and then has come over to the Irish National. They all would have been shocking results, but thank God none of them went in for us. And the winner, Freewheeling Dylan, was an unbelievable result for us. It was nearly a Skinner in the book, not quite. We did lay a few bets on it. It was nearly a Skinner, and it was one of the best results that we could have asked for in the race. So in terms of a result for us, that was probably the best part of our week. It was probably the highlight. But we're quite happy to see the end of last week, to be honest with you, and moving on to the really good stuff this week.
Yeah, interesting as well. It's another big price winner, and I think 4 of the top 5 SPs returned on Irish winners have been in the last 10 months or so, effectively. So if you are betting on the show, this is a point I've made to, and I'm not sure this is going to continue indefinitely. And you work on course and so forth. I don't work on course, but I have an affinity with the bookmakers on course, and the future of the on course bookmaking game is obviously in question. But certainly since the SPs have been returned as they have been since there's been no crowd at race meetings, punters who bet long shots are getting probably better value, and 4 of the top 5 priced winners in Ireland historically have all occurred in the past year.
Yeah, I'm sure with these big prices, I think we speak about this quite a lot, Johnny, don't we, in terms of the SP and the fact that obviously the SP is worked out off course now rather than on course. I think when you are on course, you don't put up these huge prices. There's no kind of value for me as a bookmaker putting up 150 to 1 on the board. I might as well go 100. A lot of the margin is applied to the front of the market. But then we've seen with these SPs, the kind of bigger price ones, there is probably value to be had there if you can obviously go through the form and find 150 to 1 winner. Then obviously fair play to you. But yeah, you are probably right there in terms of the SP and playing those bigger prices.
Yeah, I was speaking to a man on Sunday who was having his second or third glass of wine, and he did say to me, Freewheeling Dylan, just keep an eye out on him. He's one of these long shots that could go well in the race. Didn't think anything more of it, obviously, until he crossed the line a length and a half or so in front. But it's all about Aintree this week. Tiger Roll, I don't know what your thoughts on it is. What are your thoughts on it? I think it's an absolute nonsense. He's not running the National, but he does run in the Bowl. And obviously he's going to Aintree, he's just running the wrong race.
I'll be honest, I don't have a huge opinion on it. It's their horse and they can choose what to do with it. I wouldn't kind of be of the case that he's kind of handicapped too high, because when you look at just what he did at Cheltenham, he looked better than ever there. And if he's won two handicaps and both being the Grand National previously, you have to expect him to go up in the weights. It's just the way it is. So it's completely their decision not to run. Obviously, it's not great for the race, but at least we do get to see him in some type of capacity. And to be honest, I'm actually more excited to see him over in like a real graded chase.
Oh, stop. They're not his fences.
Yeah, but he's like, we haven't seen since he started performing well. Actually, he won a national hunt chase, didn't he?
Yeah, he did under Lisa O'Neill.
Yeah, so it's one thing to say they're not his fences, but he's still won other fences at Cheltenham at the Cheltenham Festival. He's won a Triumph Hurdle. He's obviously won these cross-country chases. We haven't seen him face proper stiff competition when he's been fit and he's been primed for it since he's been in his prime, really, have we? Because he's obviously ran in the 2 nationals and he's dotted up in cross-countries. So he could be up to this level. I mean, he's about the 9-2 mark, I think. So he's not a no hoper, is he? He's got a real live chance in that race. So I'm actually more excited to see him in that race than if he was to go to the Grand National.
That is one of the most bizarre takes I've ever heard from you. I mean, history and all of that, what it could do to continue the great resurgence in racing PR, and you want to see him running on the Thursday.
I don't want to see him running there. I'm just saying that I'm not disappointed. I'm not going to bed at night and not sleeping because he doesn't run in the Grand National. It's still going to be a fantastic race with him not there. But we shall move on anyway before we get into a bit of a tear up, John.
What's going to be back in the National, and what's the market like at the moment?
So in terms of the book at the moment, let's actually spin through the betting. I will just get it up just here. So obviously we've got the favourite. Cloth Cap is 7-2. Burrow Saint 8-1. We'll get on to Burrow Saint in just a moment. Any Second Now 9-1. Kimberlite Candy 10-1. Minella Times 11-1. Secret Reprieve 12-1. I think he still needs a few to come out. Secret Reprieve. We obviously get the final decks tomorrow. Discgrama 16s, and then it's 20 bar. That's Bristol to Mai. Just looking at it here, just off the top of my head, JP's got a strong hand this year, isn't he?
He does, and Any Second Now, been quite a bit of publicity about him. He's a similar enough profile to Ted Walsh's horse Seabass, who ran so well in the race, having won over 2 miles. Yeah, that's right. And I remember laying Any Second Now when he won the KMBR, thinking he wouldn't stay. So I think stamina has been well and truly kind of established this stage. I actually tipped him the last day he ran at Navan, and he was well backed, and he produced a brilliant performance. Castle Grace Paddy obviously did that form no harm whatsoever and running so well at Fairy House. He takes a lot of boxes for me. I'm not a big the National isn't a race for me as a punter. I'm not mad on it. I have a poor record in, but I think he's very, very solid.
What do you think of his prep? Wasn't it 2 miles the last day? It's a bit of a weird prep to go from 2 miles or 2.5 up to 4.5 miles, although we know he stays because he's won the Kimure.
Yeah, as I was saying, Seabass did something very similar. He won a race at Naas going to over 2 miles, and he wouldn't have the class really, I think, of Any Second Now. Maybe it's a kind of a jumping thing. Like Mark Walsh rode him very prominent. He was leading after the third, just looking at the comments and running here, jumped well, and maybe it's just jumping at pace. Not that 4.5 miles is 4.5 miles, but he seems a fairly straightforward horse, and I imagine this has been his plan for some time. And Burrow Saint obviously is that kind of doubt about who's going to ride him and so forth. He's a very interesting former Irish national winner. But yeah, I think Any Second Now. There's going to be a big gamble on the day. I'm just not sure who it'll be, but if I were to guess, it could be Any Second Now.
I think that Minella Times might be the one for the money on the day. Obviously, we think that Rachel Blackmore's going to be on. We did see some interesting money for Minella Times, and we managed to get under it. And we did kind of beat the whole big move on that one because it was only a few weeks ago. It was about 35 to 1, 40 to 1. Minella Times is now 11 to 1 at 10 general. So we are fairly kind of middle of the road there. We do have Burrow Saint in the book. Burrow Saint would be by far the biggest loser for us so far. So as we have a few days to the race, but Burrow Saint is the biggest loser. We've laid Burrow Saint as big as 25 to 1. We laid quite a big sum at 20 to 1. It was 25 to 1 at the start of December. Then we laid 20, 16, 14. He's now 8 to 1 Burrow Saint in the Mr. Blobby colours. So we've seen quite a bit of money, and we're still seeing small bits of money at 8 to 1 for Burrow Saint. So really, really popular, proving much more popular than Cloth Cap, who's now a 7 to 2 poke. 7 to 2 for the Grand National, obviously hugely well in after winning the last day, being ASO, I think it was off the top of my head, after obviously winning the Labrich Trophy. Cloth Cap's a small loser for us at the moment, but you would expect that to be a bigger loser. It might just be the case that at the moment you don't want to be playing a 7 to 2 shot for the Grand National just yet. A lot of people obviously will wait till the day, etc. But I just think the 7-2 in a Grand National, even though he's going to be well handicapped and he's probably going to be bang there, it just doesn't really get my blood going. I'm not going to lie.
Same as I guess the fact that the style of racing and all that, people are probably latching onto that. You can stay out of trouble. Obviously, Trevor Hemmings, I remember Hedge Hunter winning for him, having backed him, had a good bet on a Hedge Hunter, albeit 12 months before he won, when he fell at the last. But he had his prep for it, and obviously Trevor Hemmings does love winning this race. But how important is the National to you guys in terms of the I suppose the racing P&L? The year might be a stretch, but how important is the race in the overall scheme of things?
It would be big for the week and it would have an impact on your month, but it wouldn't be huge. It wouldn't be like the be all and end all. If you have a bad national, for us, it's not like, oh God, we can't win on racing this year. It's nowhere near those times of levels. But obviously it's a race where we want to be competitive in, and obviously we want to win because of the sheer number of bets that you're taking. And you do seem to see quite a good spread of business. I mean, I think this year we'll see a really good spread, because you've obviously got 7-2, 8-1, 9-1. There's quite a few around that mark, whereas normally they bet kind of bigger the field. But I think over those first five or six, I think we'll see a really good spread this year, which will be good.
Busy book as well in terms of busy book in terms of Aintree, just on the website. The Stayers Hurdle, the McGull, Novice Chase, the Sefton, the Topham, the Marsh, the Mile May, the Novice Hurdle as well. So lots going on.
Yeah, huge amounts. And we've actually got a really good offer on the Grand National this year. So we'll stick a graphic up now of it. It's called the All Over the Place offer. So this is an offer where you will get your money back as a free bet if you're out the frame, but you do manage to complete the course. So say we're paying top 5, 5 and 5th, or whatever we will be on the Grand National. If you finish 6th, 7th, 8th, etc., and you manage to finish, then you'll get your place money back as a free bet. So if you obviously have an each way bet with us, up to £25, you'll get your place money back as a free bet. So if you could complete the course, but you are out of the places. So just an offer to get stuck into there for the Grand National. Just to kind of recap what the book looks like. We won't be wanting Burrow same right now. Any second hours bet from 25s into 9-1. He'd be the second worst result in the book. Cloth Cap would be a small loser at the moment, and there's been nibbles for Manila Time. So those would be the four at the moment, Johnny, that we won't want to be going in terms of the big race on Saturday at the Grand National. I just want to spin through some more horses that have been backed on the other races, because like you say, we have got a jam-packed kind of few days at Aintree, and a huge turnout in terms of quality of horses as well. I think there's some real top races. Just starting with the Thursday, this has probably been the most lively race. And again, it's our old friend, the Shunter, Johnny. I hate to say it, he just keeps turning us over. Hopefully we can get him beat for once in the Manifesto Novice Chase. We laid a big bet at 4-1. He's now 3-1 with us, the Shunter, after going and winning the last 2 times, obviously getting the bonus done at Cheltenham. So we will definitely want the Shunter to be beat. Moving on to the Fox Hunters, obviously over the national fences on the Thursday. Late Night Pass has been the one for money there. Back to 12-1 and 10-1, and now an 8-1 shot. Billaway is your 11-4 favourite there. Obviously, no Porlock Bay to worry about here when getting beat at Cheltenham a couple of weeks ago. And then moving on to the Red Rum Handicap Chase. Zanza is one that's been well supported here. Actually fell when he ran at Cheltenham. Quite unlucky to come down, I think, in that race. So he was 12-1. He's now 17-2 shot. Destrier was the other one. Has been backed at 15-2. And it's now 11-2. Getaway Trump is the 5-1 favourite there. And then just the last one from Thursday, just looking at the bowl, which we've obviously spoke about with Tiger Roll and the Aintree Hurdle. They look like great races, but they've been quite quiet so far on the betting front. So hopefully they'll kind of materialise as we get towards tomorrow. And then Friday, just want to talk about Friday really quickly. Politolog has been well back from the Marsh, was 11-2, now 5-2 shot. That looks a really good race, really competitive. And then the Topham, Modus is the one for money there, was 14-1, now 10-1. And Huntsman's Son was 16, now 14. Those would be the two that we won't want to be winning there. So that's just a real quick spin through Aintree. We've obviously got the all over the place offer for the Grand National itself. And we won't want Burrow Saint to be going in there.
Yeah, and Billaway could be very interested. Obviously, he's 5-2 favourites. I was just touched off when ridden at Aintree by Paul Townend, and obviously now Patrick Mullins can take over, and Abacadabras on the ticket, Tiger Roll. So lots of Irish interest, and I think, in fairness, Flynn, Aintree is very different to Cheltenham. There's no real anti-post build-up, and there's going to be a lot of action, obviously, on the day.
Yeah, exactly. So with these, there's just less talk about these races, which is why I love Aintree, because there's not that huge build up, and you kind of just switch on the TV and you've got these fantastic races on. There's not
Yeah.
like a huge kind of build up to it. I really enjoy Aintree. So yeah, we will definitely be seeing more action on the day. Obviously, Thursday being tomorrow, so it all kind of kicks off tomorrow. But we've also got the golf to talk about, because that kicks off tomorrow as well. What a week we have, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, golf isn't for me. But I read somewhere that I think as Rory McIlroy has gone to visit Tiger Woods, obviously to sympathise with him on his accident and all that, but possibly to ask him how to be a golfer again. What's going on with Rory?
He's really struggling. He's working with a swing coach at the moment. I think his name's Pete Cowan. He's got a really famous swing coach. I hope I've got his name right. He's just really struggling with his swing. He said that he fell foul of the when he saw Bryson hitting it so far last year. He kind of fell foul and tried to kind of do the same. He really wanted to be up there distance-wise with Bryson. He wasn't too far behind him. But when he's been trying to do that, he's had a real issue with his swing, and it's kind of thrown him out of kilter. He has been kind of coming back and showing glimpses of form, but he's just really struggling to put those 4 rounds together. As he's an 18-1 shot for the Masters. Just before we kind of get into different specials markets and offers we've got on the Masters, let's just have a quick show of betting. So we are 5th, the first 7 places in the Masters. Dustin Johnson, the winner in November, is 8-1 favourite. Bryson DeChambeau 9-1, JT 9-1, Spieth is 10s after winning the Valero in Texas last week. John Rahm is 11-1. Obviously, just had his baby, so it could be the old nappy factor that does the job for him there. McIlroy's 18s, Cantlay 20, Xander Schauffele 22. Then we are 28-1 bar, and that is Brooks Koepka, who is nursing a injury at the moment, but he's still towards the head of the market. In terms of markets we've got for the Masters, our golf trader's been working, really hard by the looks of our website at the moment, because if you go to the outright market, you can actually click on each golfer, and it's got about a paragraph like read up with form for every single golfer in the tournament. So if you do have a look at that, there's some fantastic effort that's been put in here. This is just fantastic looking at it. My personal favourite is when you scroll down to Sandy Lyle, who's 10,000-1. The last line of Sandy Lyle's write-up says, "Time to call it a day, Sandy." So he obviously is not a fan of the 10,000-1 shot Sandy Lyle there, our golf trader.
I think our golf trader who'd been writing at that stage, and he said time called a day, he'd written about so many golfers, he was probably like, I just want to get out of here at this stage. This is a hell of an endeavour.
I know. There's so much real good stuff in there. So definitely props to Glenn there, our senior golf trader. And when you go to the specials tab as well, you can see we've got tournament winning score. So favourite there would be 14 or 15 under, just looking at the odds. That'd be 18-5, which is slightly lower, quite a bit lower actually than the November total. They're thinking that obviously it's typically when the Masters is played at the moment, so it's going to run out a bit more. It's not going to be like they were throwing darts back in November, so they're thinking the score's going to be, or our traders certainly thinking that the score is going to be slightly higher. We've also got a handicap, so only these 10 players count, and all 4 rounds must be completed. So Dustin Johnson's off scratch, and then +1 for Spieth, +1 for Thomas, etc. 13-2 there. Will there be a hole in one? 4-6 yes, and 11-10 no. I think that market will be hugely hinged on where they put the pin on the par 3, where everybody kind of feeds it in on the back 9 on the Sunday. There seems to be hole in ones there, so 4-6 might be a bit of value. We've also got birdie or better markets for each of the kind of top players. So you can bet hole by hole whether they're going to birdie or better the hole. They're quite fun bets to kind of have during the actual tournament. And then just in terms of offers now, so those were the specials markets. In terms of offers, we have a free to enter competition, so you need to have an account with us. But it's the Masters competition. You can win a £500 free bet, and there's thousands of £20 free bets to be given away there. Completely free to enter. Do get involved. There's a real good chance that you can win. You have to answer lots of different questions. For example, will Dustin Johnson birdie the first hole? Yes or no? And it's about who gets the most amount of questions right. You get a point for each question correct, and the person with the most points will get a £500 free bet. So do check that out on the website. And we've also got a birdie bonus offer, which I think is a fantastic offer. So if you back a player in the outright market, we'll give you a free bet for every birdie or better that they sink in their opening round. And the free bet is equal to 10% of your outright stake. So if you have £50 on the outright market and your player hits 3 birdies in the opening round, you'll get 3 £5 free bets. So that's just an offer to get stuck into there, and you can obviously cheer your player on to to stiff as many balls close to the hole and knock as many birdies in during the first round.
Loads and loads and loads, and bets coming in every second there on Flynn's feed. And Liverpool v Real Madrid in the second leg. Real Madrid 5-2. Just looking at the page here, the way Liverpool played and defended last night, I think they're going to cough up goals badly in that game. Just want to keep an eye out for anything else, Flynn, before we wrap up for the week.
I know we've just stopped speaking about golf, but the only reason you can hear the bets coming in is because I've got the live book open of the actual Masters at the moment. So that's when
what's happening? What's coming in?
Bets coming in. So in terms of the book for the Masters at the moment, Matthew Fitzpatrick in the English charge would be by far the biggest loser in the Masters for us at the moment. We've laid Matthew Fitzpatrick at 45-1, 40-1, now 35-1, but for large sums. So he would be the big loser. The Japanese Hideki Matsuyama would also be a big loser. Jordan Spieth, after winning the Valero Texas Open last week, would be a loser. Matt Kuchar performed really well in the Dell Technologies match play. He would be a big loser. JT would be the one at the front of the market, and then DJ as well would be our best loser, DJ at the moment. And then the field at the moment is winning. So we could definitely do without one of those 6 or 7 from the front of the market going in anyway.
Thanks a million for your time, Flynn.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was Trader Chat. Check out the website, starsports.bet, for all those specials in the Master, on the National, and obviously football coming up. We shall talk to you next week.